Are you tired of all those robocalls? Well, help is on the way. Stick around. I've got some good news for you on Steve's Tech Talk. There were 4.7 billion robocalls placed just in the month of May. With numbers like that, it's not surprising that my Tech Talk on how to avoid robocalls was one of the all-time most popular. Robocalls are the Federal Communication Commission's #1 complaint. So, it's not surprising that on June 6th, they passed a rule, and it encourages phone companies to automatically block robocalls. The rule reverses the way phone companies implement the call blocking service. Now, all the phone companies do offer a basic robocall blocking service, and only Sprint actually charges for theirs. But you had to opt into the service to use it, and most people didn't do that. With the new rule, the phone companies can automatically block your robocalls as long as they give you the option to opt out. These calls are such a pain in the neck. You may wonder, why would anybody want to opt out of such a great new option? Well, the problem is it's hard to differentiate between good calls and bad calls. What about, for example, calls from your doctor's office reminding you of an appointment? Or from your bank account telling you about an overdraft? Or what about your credit card alerts telling you there's fraud activity on your account? The FCC has also set its sights on those spoofed calls. You know, the ones that come from a phone number that looks real similar to yours. They have given the phone companies until the end of the year to implement a new technology called Stir-Shaken. The system gives each legitimate phone number a digital certificate that verifies the call is actually coming from that number. Of course, the one possible stumbling block is that for this to work, all the phone companies have to implement it. The FCC isn't the only government entity to take note of your frustration. In May, the Senate passed new legislation by a whopping vote of 97-1. It's called the Trace Act. Among other things, it will impose a fine of $10,000 per call on all those spam calls you get. Of course, it's still got to pass the House, and it has to be signed by the President. In the coming year, these new technologies and rules will greatly reduce the number of robocalls we get. But don't expect miracles. I can promise you, spammers and scammers will find a way around the rules. For example, they can go out and actually buy legitimate phone numbers. Or they might hack into a business and hijack their phone lines. While we're waiting for these rules to take effect, you can sign up for your phone company's robocall blocking service. And as a general rule, I don't answer calls from phone numbers I don't recognize. And then, of course, you can report spam and scam calls by going online to consumercomplaints.fcc.gov. At the very least, it'll keep the pressure on the FCC so that they make robocalls one of their top priorities. For Great Day TV, I'm Steve Sweitzer.